out that higher academic enterprise emerges, at least in my mind, as university business community partners work together to become co-creating entities, able to invigorate the sustainably new and embrace the most virtuous of knowledge sharing. There are clear challenges in developing academic enterprise. Firstly, in the creation of the right incentives for joint working, then the time to undertake it properly, the creation of a culture to embed enterprise in universities, and managing the expectations of both the academics and their external partners. However, academics are good at accepting challenges, can communicate well, increasingly know about raising resources to develop effective enterprise, and have as much desire as anyone to have a real impact on the world. I'm not suggesting that higher academic enterprise or virtuous knowledge sharing came easily to academics in the early days of them trying to reach out to business and the community. There had to be a change of culture in academia, and this was not a trivial task for those who had previously been rather aloof in society. But it has now been possible, with gradual and committed efforts, to build a new cohort of leaders of higher academic enterprise, particularly in the UK. Such academic leaders also had to recognise the kind of imagination residing in the external partners, learn to tap into it, and then be able to coach our partners into how our imaginative ideas may extend theirs. In return, the drive of our partners, the willingness to develop processes and products quickly, often on the basis of little but very practical knowledge, had to be understood, especially with respect to the noble ideas academics were trying to share. I call this two-way and highly effective process mutual coaching, and such coaching is absolutely essential for those involved in developing academic enterprise for the knowledge economy. The resulting process is demonstrated in this enhanced virtual knowledge sharing diagram now on the screen. Starting at top dead centre on the figure, any creative team partnership has to define a suitable problem that excites all participants passionately, one which all believe will lead to a worthy solution. Then a truly creative team tries to undertake original but real-world and practice-based research so that any final solution will work effectively, economically and socially in its eventual context. 4. Enterprise solutions must be more than noble and valuable. They must be useful, sustainable and demanded. That is, if the enterprise developing any solution is to survive and flourish. This process is not just linear, but a highly responsive and iterative one of advanced knowledge sharing. When a university Reach Out project recognises the need for such collaboration, the motivational academic coach comes into play, as all sides of any development work together to propel and motivate each other to the highest possible levels of performance. Finally, as you begin to achieve success, it is important to evaluate all the processes and products being developed, so that every member of a creative team begins to find new ways of doing everything they do just one little bit better. After such an evaluation, successful teams should repeat the virtuous knowledge-sharing cycle again and again, expanding their horizons collectively. This should be a never-ending process, as all strive to extend the scope and quality of their solutions, and actively develop new opportunities for even more profound implementations. Several papers at the PESH conference reported work that was clearly being developed on the basis of such virtuous knowledge sharing, perhaps without even recognising that this was what they were doing. Evidence from the two major studies mentioned at the start of this section clearly shows that if universities do adopt virtuous knowledge sharing as their preferred university reach-out approach, they will indeed improve the quality and impact of their enterprise developments in quite natural ways. However, even when universities do decide to adopt a knowledge-sharing approach, they shouldn't be surprised if developments don't go smoothly, at least to begin with. Indeed, I think it is important in the early phase of virtuous knowledge sharing for creative teams to want to flounder around in the exploration of relevant ideas. For the real problem often is to know what the real problem is. Floundering in this context implies a rather chaotic and open phase of problem finding. However, I have found it is absolutely essential for any innovative development, And if you miss out this floundering phase of virtuous knowledge sharing, you will severely limit the range of any eventual solution. The floundering actually helps you find the right problem, and perhaps even allows you to fully scope out the specification for its solution. Furthermore, such floundering around can also be fun. That is, if you open your teens' minds to the extreme of the problem. But even when you think you've found your worthy problem, it is then important to moither on this problem, to worry out all the details of the issues until a higher academic enterprise team fully understands the problem and the exploration needed to find a collective way forward. If you persist at requisite moithering, a system solution will eventually emerge, almost like the scientist's eureka moment in what Gregory Bateson calls the patterns which connect. I have validated this approach now by studying almost 200 cases of best higher academic enterprise practice from nearly 30 European universities. And while at the level of detail, no one-size-fitted-all in terms of the precise methodologies used, success only typically occurred when creative and diverse teams who had learned to adopt virtuous knowledge and know-how sharing began to co-create on the basis of practical goals, practical problems, and practical issues about which they were all continuously excited. In the next section, let me exemplify this by telling you about just 3 further stories of success from over 200 case studies I have led. But do feel free to look at the EUA website to access the others. The URL to find this is now shown on the screen.